Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. Today's video is a spotlight, player highlight, and who I want to talk about is Isaiah Hodgins. When we first picked up Isaiah Hodgins, I believe it was week 10. And actually, yes, it was week 10. And at the time, I didn't know who he was. I just remember Brian Dable at the podium saying that the guy knew the offense and could play all three wide receiver positions. And so what did I do? I put a video out about the signing, and then I went back and watched a little bit of tape, and wasn't really any tape out there. They had a couple of catches, from him on the Bills. I went back to some of the college tape and saw some plays, and what I saw was a tall receiver, not really fast, but able to get separation and good ball skills, pretty much catching everything that comes his way. And as far as separation goes, he does the subtle things that wide receivers can do with his hands at the top of routes to get that separation and open up his catch radius for the quarterback. And one thing about Daniel Jones, especially at that time, he was waiting for guys to get open. And when Hodgins got to the Giants, you saw that he was getting open pretty quickly. And Daniel Jones, when throwing to Isaiah Hodgins, was getting the ball out pretty quickly as well. So I think a guy like that you bring off of waivers, and he had a pretty big impact on this offense. And it's not saying a lot. It's not saying a lot because, again, we already know how the New York Giants were running their offense, a lot through Saquon Barkley, a lot of the short game and things like that. But you saw when Isaiah Hodgins got here, not only did he help improve himself in his situation by making those quality catches, you saw the rest of the wide receiver room step their game up as well. Richie James, Darius Slayton, even the passing game opened up a lot more as soon as Isaiah Hodgins got here. So let's just talk about some of the stats for Isaiah Hodgins. So if you count the playoffs, he played a total of 10 games for us. And in those 10 games, he had 5 touchdowns and just under 500 yards. I believe it was 449 yards. And to me, in my head, doing the math, I'm like, so if this guy plays the whole season for us, and we didn't have that slow start in the passing game, he could possibly be a double-digit touchdown type of guy. Now, realistically, I'm thinking, okay, if he gets you 5 touchdowns in 10 games, he can probably get you at least 8, 9, or 10 touchdowns in a full season, depending on how you're running this offense. And another thing about Isaiah Hodgins, he's a guy that's probably a number 3 wide receiver, has the talent to make himself a solid number 2 if at his peak, in my opinion. I don't want to underestimate his talent or what he could be, possibly be. Could he be a number 1? That would be fantastic if we were able to steal a number 1 off of waivers and develop them and take a guy that's a number 3 to a number 1, or take a guy that wasn't even on the active roster for the Buffalo Bills and turn him into a number 1 and a quality number 1, just not a Giants number 1. But that's to be seen. That's to be seen. So let me pump the brakes and come back a little bit. But again, just for the New York Giants in this offense with Mike Kafka and Daniel Jones, you saw this man in 10 games get just under 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. So a full season for me, expectation-wise, is anywhere from 700 to 900 yards and anywhere from 5, 8 to 9 touchdowns, going into the 2023 season. And that's good for a guy that's only going to cost you under $1 million. So let's get back to the point. The Giants need to extend Isaiah Hodgins, and it's a no-brainer for me. A guy with that type of talent can give you that type of quality snaps. Is worth an extension, especially when he's young. So if the Giants want to extend him, for 2024 or even 2025, I won't be mad at that because it won't cost you a lot of money. You could probably get Isaiah Hodgins to sign a deal right now, for another 2 years at probably vet minimum or $1 million per. So you're looking at a guy that's going to cost you in the next 3 seasons $3 million. I'm doing that. For a guy that's giving you that type of quality, just think about how much we were going to pay Darius Slayton this year before he took his pay cut. Isaiah Hodgins, to me, is a better option than Darius Slayton right now, and you saw it in the offense this year. But again, Isaiah Hodgins, in my opinion, you definitely extend this guy. You definitely give him not even a lot of money, and you make him a part of this team for the next few years, especially while you're building this team up the way you want it to be built. You can't go wrong with cheap, good talent. Not saying he's a cheap player because it sounds awful when you say it, but you can't. Cap-friendly deals, I'll put it that way. Instead of cheap, I'll say cap-friendly. That sounds a lot better. You can't turn down cap-friendly deals, especially for productive players. And I think Isaiah Hodgins can be very productive in this offense and for the New York Giants, especially during this rebuild, as we finish this rebuild and how we become competitive in the division, in the NFC, and ultimately for championships. So that's my spotlight highlight for the day. Isaiah Hodgins, get that man an extension, and let's get the deal done, Joe Schoen. I'm pretty sure Joe Schoen's already got the deal figured out in his head. Just needs that man in the room so he can sign the paperwork. But I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And for one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.